What's going on, guys? It's Thomas from the Switched Up. I am joined by PJ and Mac, and today we have the 26th episode of Nintendo Tonight. It's been a while, and if you're hearing this, you are not watching it because this is only going up on the audio platform. We'll explain a bit, I guess, the changes to the podcast. We can explain those. I don't know if you guys want to do that at the end or towards the beginning, but basically,
I think we can do it now.
To sum it all up. All right, yeah, I'll let them know. So to sum it all up, basically, the podcast is no longer going to be uploaded in a video form to YouTube in its entirety. Instead, we are going to be taking the different segments of the podcast and uploading them as their own videos on YouTube. So we'll hopefully be uploading the podcast bi-weekly. That is the current plan, so every other week. And then as the podcast is uploaded, throughout those 2 weeks while you're waiting for the next podcast, every like, I think we decided what Mac, like Thursday and
Thursday and Sunday.
Every Thursday and Sunday, there will be a new segment available on the Nintendo Tonight YouTube channel. So, audio listeners, this is your, I guess, I don't know, you guys get like the podcast exclusively now. So, good for you guys. It sucks for the video watchers, but they'll be getting more than enough content to the Nintendo Tonight channel coming soon. So, I'm pretty stoked about this. What do you guys think? Like, we've talked about it off the record too, but like, just put it out there.
If you're an audio listener, the segments probably won't be that useful because you'll be listening to the podcast. But like, I think it's a great idea to gain more viewers and to grow the Nintendo Tonight channel as its own brand.
100% in agreement. Exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's almost like we've talked about this a lot extensively outside of this pod.
Crazy.
Wild. No, but we've had a lot of ideas, changes for the channels now, plural, including the nuclear option. Maybe one day, when we are past the idea of not doing the nuclear option, we will explain it and see what people would have thought, because it's pretty funny. But we do have a Google Doc in which there is literally a plan called the nuclear option, all in Comic Sans. I think it's bolded.
The switcheroo.
Yeah, so I guess that gives you a little hint of what it ends up being. Yeah. But no, there are quite a few. We have contingencies. We got plans, and 2022 should be a really big year. But I'm betting you guys are not listening to this podcast right now to listen about us rant about YouTube and talk about what we want to do in 2022. You want to hear about what Nintendo is going to do in 2022. So before we get into anything, before we get into some of our segments that we got planned out, how optimistic are you guys for this year? Because it's like palpable in the Nintendo community. Everyone seems to be really gunning for this year to be huge.
This is the year. Like, if this is like the make or break year for the Switch. Like, 2017 was huge, and it's kind of just slowly like died, I feel, like the hype. But 2022, there's just like, we already have so many games already announced that like, if this year isn't incredible, then I don't know, like.
Now here's the question, Mac. Haven't we been saying that for the last 3 or 4 years?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have been saying that, but I've never really bought into it. Like, there's, I don't know. I'm very optimistic.
No, I am as well.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much like 2017, like V2, because you see the comparison. It's like Splatoon 2 to Splatoon 3, Breath of the Wild 1 to Breath of the Wild 2. All this stuff, so it's kind of like coming right in line to like 2017. But I mean, I think it has the potential to be better just because of like rumored titles that we've heard about, and even like this new Kirby game that got announced, which looks amazing. So I think this is huge. Like Max said, huge year, make or break for sure. It'll be interesting to see in 2023 if Nintendo makes like a new Switch, because Switch Pro rumors still go on to this day, even though
that's the true
OLED got announced. But yes, it is.
No, I agree. It's going to be a big year. Nintendo. I feel like Nintendo knows this is a really huge year for them, because if you think about the Wii was doing really well. And then like once the Xbox 360 and the PS4 came out, like a bit after the Wii and all that and whatnot, the hype started to slowly die, and then Nintendo rushed out the Wii U. The Wii U never really did super well, and now Nintendo's found a newborn success with the Switch. But the PS5 and Xbox Series X just came out. PC gaming is as strong as ever. With all these factors coming in to kind of slow down the Switch, will Nintendo be able to truly step on the gas? This is the year. I mean, this is like, it's going to be the PS5, Xbox Series X's like first big
Real
year
year.
because the pandemic kind of slowed stuff down. Like the PS5 alone, it's got I don't think Spider-Man 2 is coming out next year, but God of War 2, or technically God of War 5. I don't know. That series has weird naming conventions, but God of War 2, Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Zero Dawn. There are a lot, like those games are both coming out, I believe, in the first half of that year, and those are 2 Game of the Year winners or nominees in Horizon's case from
Getting
the past.
sequels,
These are going to be huge games. And I mean, Breath of the Wild obviously coming out kind of mirrors that, but will Nintendo be able to kind of maintain it throughout the year, be able to surprise us even though we know so much? I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting for sure.
Couldn't have
think
said
it
it better
might be-
myself.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, that was
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, all good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of the content rather than the reveals at this point, because like we just know so much. Like when you're actually looking at the slate of what has been revealed, I mean, Breath of the Wild 2, we can assume that's coming out on the holiday. Like I think the Kirby game is the game of like the spring, like the big game of the spring. I'm not sure if we know about summer yet, but there's a lot of Mario rumors kind of swirling around, considering the Mario movie is coming out, so that'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with that. But for sure, we know a lot, and also Legends Arceus is coming out in January to kick off.
And
the
also
year. So-
Breath of the Wild 2, nobody's brought that up yet. Like,
Yeah, you're not
that's
wrong.
the
I mean,
big game. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
2022 is it feels
It
stacked
could be
already
huge.
without
100%.
a direct.
100%. Well, speaking of which, Nintendo fans, it is that time of the year again. The year has just started, and unlike past years, we do know a lot of what is coming in 2022. But regardless, tradition is tradition, and it's that time for a brand new Nintendo Direct. This has never failed us before, right, guys? We've always gotten a Direct at the start of the year.
always.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, they like to do a little trolling. Nintendo does a little trolling, and we don't get that Direct. But they generally do have a Direct in either the January or February months, and this year seems to be no different. We have Kirby coming up pretty soon. I mean, Pokemon's coming in like a couple of weeks. We don't know too much about these games that are coming in the first half of the year, plus Advance Wars got delayed. We need to hear more about that. So it does seem like Nintendo is ripe to have a Direct, despite the fact that we already know so much, and that is why we are here today. Each of us, all 3 of us, to bring 2 predictions each for what we think will be in this mythical Nintendo Direct that probably will happen, but we can't exactly nail it down. The rumors are saying late January, which would kind of work. I could understand them maybe doing a Pokemon Direct before Legends Arceus, and then after Legends Arceus doing a real Direct. But regardless, we are ready for our predictions. Who wants to kick it off?
I'll go first. So, I think that it's been 8 years since the last Mario Kart game. It's been 4 years since the last, since Deluxe. Like, it has to happen this year. Like, they can't stop milking it. Like, they've got to come out with a Mario Kart game this year.
You would think.
Insert that Avengers Endgame "Don't Give Me Hope" meme. I'm so hopeful that this does come out. What do you want to see in this new Mario Kart? Because there's so many ways they could take this, Mac.
There are so many ways. Like, I personally think that they may go in like a Smash Ultimate Mario Party Superstars kind of way, where they bring back like a bunch of retro tracks, a bunch of the old characters that got cut. Like, I think this could be a pretty huge Mario Kart, because they've been working on it for a while, I feel.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, if that game comes out, that's the game. Like, that's
sure.
it. Like,
Yeah.
Even though it would probably not come out until 2023 unless they wanted to really stack up 2022. Like, that game will instantly become one of the top selling games on Switch. No question. I mean,
For sure.
It's Mario Kart. Like, it's Mario Kart.
I mean, that reveal
Mario
will be
Kart
huge.
never fails. Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as I kind of don't want them to do a Nintendo Kart sort of thing in terms of having a bunch of characters from different franchises come in and mostly having it Mario Kart. I wasn't really opposed to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe having like some other characters from other franchises, like, you know, Link and the Inklings and characters like that. But I want it to be mainly Mario. There's been a lot of rumors that, you know, they would take the Smash Ultimate route, like you were talking about, Mac, and, you know, bringing all this old stuff back, old tracks and all that. But as long as they kind of keep the roster like mainly Mario, I'm good with that. And I'm totally in agreement that Mario Kart 9 or 10, you know, whatever they would call it, is going to be one of the biggest games on the Switch for sure.
I 100% agree. As long as like those guest characters are just that guests, like bring them all in. It would be cool.
Sure.
Yep.
All right, PJ, you want to hit us with your first prediction?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're probably going to see more about Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I think that reveal was like amazing because the Kirby franchise in and of itself was kind of dormant for a while, and Kirby going the 3D route just looks like such a great kind of adventure for Kirby because, I mean, we've had this 2D formula for so long where it's kind of felt like a copy and paste. And sometimes we've had these spin-offs like Epic Yarn, which, have been kind of fun, but not exactly what I was looking for in the franchise. So I think from what we've seen in Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I'm really excited for, and I can't wait to see more. And I think for this Direct, they will kind of go that route and show off some more gameplay for sure.
I 100% agree. I feel like Kirby over the past decade has kind of become like a dying like character, like his series. I feel like this will just like inject the series with so many more fans, and 3D platformers are like the best in my opinion. So it makes perfect sense to have a 3D Kirby game.
Yeah, I agree. Like creatively, Kirby's kind of been stuck a little bit dormant. It's weird to see all these other franchises go 3D, and Kirby's just like, nah, I'll stick in 2D. It's a little bit weird to see. So I'm definitely glad that for Forgotten Land?
Yeah, Kirby and the
trying
Forgotten
to fix
Land.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. All right, so I will now jump into my first prediction, which is a game that we do know about, but we don't know that much. It is Splatoon 3. This game, I think we are all underestimating this game. We talk about Mario Kart being a huge seller. We talk about Breath of the Wild. Splatoon has sold phenomenally considering there are only 2 Splatoon games. And yet Splatoon 2 is still a 10 million plus seller, and Splatoon 1 was a breakout hit on the dying Wii U. Splatoon 3 could be absolutely huge if Nintendo embraces the online capability of this game, as the president of Nintendo has said they want to kind of prop up Nintendo Switch Online, make it more useful, give more games online functionality. If they, Mac, I'm gonna say something. You probably already know what I'm gonna say. If they give Splatoon a battle royale functionality, it's over. It's over. It's over.
Oh my god.
It would be so good. It would be funny. I mean, it would be cool.
It would be Nintendo, so good.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it works. It works. Like as long as Nintendo kind of puts that creative spin on it,
yeah,
it would totally work. What they could also do is they could kind of go, I guess, the Warzone route of having Splatoon 3 launch alongside a free-to-play battle royale that you have to have Nintendo Switch Online to play.
Yeah.
And then
that is
maybe
a great idea.
Yeah,
that
then
is
the
an
Splatoon
insane
3
idea.
campaign,
Yeah.
Splatoon 3 campaign is what costs money, and that comes with like your average like turf war, online affair that we've come to know and love from Splatoon.
Yeah. Yep.
This could be a huge, like if Nintendo plays their cards right, Splatoon could go from not just a big Nintendo franchise, but one of the biggest franchises in gaming.
Yeah, Splatoon is such an anomaly. Like, it's crazy after 2 games, one on the Wii U and one at the first year of the Switch, how like popular it is. Like, it's pretty insane.
100%.
Yeah. Like I remember when we first got the announcement that Nintendo was working on a new IP in itself, like way back in the Wii U days, and everyone was really skeptical about it. And what is it, like 8 years later now when we're looking at this, and it's like, wow, it's really come this far.
Yeah.
But Splatoon 3 for sure, it would be interesting. And that battle royale concept I was gonna bring up, like I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think you just have to be careful with the Switch's like hardware and how that runs, because you can't have like 100 Inklings running around. Like I feel like that'll just completely crash the Switch. But the whole concept in itself is really exciting, and I think literally the paid and free kind of version you were talking about, like that would be like absolutely perfect for it.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, so Mac, hit us with your second prediction. If you have one,
no, I got
run
one
it right now.
So,
all right, let's hear it.
I feel the most likely thing to happen in the next Nintendo Direct is Mario Party DLC. I feel that Mario Party DLC just makes so much sense. Mario Party Superstars, not Super Mario Party, because that game sucks. But it would literally be so. It would be so easy for them to make new maps or boards or whatever they're called, because literally all they have to do is copy the old games. Just literally copy it in the new style, put out like 3 new boards, sell it for like $15. So easy, so free. It's a no-brainer.
I mean, there's a reason they didn't put the old Mario Party games on like N64 Online. I mean, that's just what I would assume, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
super shady.
I completely agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something really shady, similar to what they did with Animal Crossing DLC, and put it in with the expansion pack. I really hope that's not the case, but hey, I think I completely agree with you, because that game, has done really well, and it's kind of like revived the franchise, I guess, after coming off that kind of dumpster fire that was Super Mario Party. But yeah, DLC would be great. Completely agree with you, because that game is really fun, but the content feels a little bit lackluster, kind of when you're looking at it, for sure.
I agree 100%. I mean, I don't think they're going to do this personally, because there have been so many good times for them to do this, and they just have not.
I feel like they've learned their lesson, though, right?
Hopefully,
You'd
man.
hope so,
Hopefully.
right?
If they do DLC for this game, just the fact that they are willing to update it means it would go from my, like, a pretty average Mario Party for me to one of my favorites of all time. Like, it would be huge for the game's replayability, just everything about it. So I'm hoping, man. I mean, here's to it.
Yep. That is the hope. So I will go next with my second prediction. And for me, I'm going to have to go with the sequel to the Breath of the Wild title reveal, because we still do not know the title yet. I think we will see that title and release date sort of thing. I think Breath of the Wild 2 will get a big appearance at E3 in the Treehouse and all of that. Like, I'm sure that'll be like the main focal point. Obviously with Smash being gone, there's no like huge surprise kind of waiting. But yeah, for sure, I think we have to know the title before going into E3. I feel like it would be very weird if they didn't do that. So I'm almost gonna put like 100% into this, that we're gonna see the title in this direct, because it's been a while. We just known sequel to the Breath of the Wild for a long time. And Thomas, your kind of fan title of Legend of Zelda Curse of the Wild, I think I'm pushing for that for sure. I think that'll be really good. So
yeah, a little bit of an aside here. What do you guys think this title will be? I've said Curse of the Wild before. I think that's the one. But Mac, you made a whole video about this. You had some interesting ones, if you remember.
I feel like it could have something to do with like Sky, like maybe Sky of the Wild, or like Curse of the Sky, or something like that. Something incorporating Sky, because there's so much, like, just from that second trailer, I feel like the Sky is gonna have such a big role within the game.
Yeah. In
right.
that video, Mac, you made, you had my favorite suggestion, which was The Legend of Zelda: The Winter Soldier. So I hope they do that. Will they?
Yeah.
Probably not. But
Yeah.
if they just bite Marvel's bit there, like Legend of Zelda: Infinity War, that would be chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, my prediction. Well, it is kind of least, because not many people want this game, but I really do. A brand new 2D Donkey Kong game. Retro Studios has made some bangers in the past. We've had rumors for a Donkey Kong game for a while. Recently, Nintendo and Illuminations have been rumored to start making a Donkey Kong specific movie even before we've gotten the first trailer for the Mario movie. Recently, in all the way over across the world in Japan, Nintendo and Universal have made a Donkey Kong, or like constructing a Donkey Kong expansion for the theme park. Everything is coming up Donkey Kong here, but we're not getting a new game to show for it. Why are we not getting a brand new 2D Donkey Kong game, or just any Donkey Kong game? I think that's going to be rectified within the next Direct, or at least I hope so.
Yeah, it's been a while since the last Tropical Freeze or whatever country game, and I've never played them, but they look super fun. Like, if I had more time in my hands, I would definitely pick one up and play it, because I love 2D platformers, and I could definitely see that happening very soon.
Confession, I do have Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, but I probably have an hour total playtime on it, so yeah. But I hope they do another 2D Donkey Kong, because for the hour that I played, it looked fun, and from gameplay I've seen, it's looked fun too. So hey,
yeah,
I'm
fair
pushing
enough.
for it, for sure.
Hey, they're hard games, and they're 2D platformers, which not everyone loves, but I like, as far as 2D platformers goes, in my opinion, any Donkey Kong Country game is cream of the crop, so
Super
hopefully
fun.
That's what we get. And with that, those are our predictions for brand new Nintendo Direct. Tweet at us your predictions at Nintendo Tonight. We do have the handle for that Twitter. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below. Yeah, with that out of the way, we have a fair amount to talk about next. Do you guys want to hop into one of the next segment, or hit them with a little bit of banter? Just meanwhile.
I'm down for the
go.
bants. I'm down for the
Yeah,
bants.
let's talk. Let's talk.
All right,
talk,
so
dude.
recently, this is something I just want to bring up. Recently, I've been working on a top secret video, which I will tell you guys. A little segment for the audio listeners. It is I'm going to be racing with every Mario Kart 8 Deluxe like vehicle customization, doing one race with every single vehicle customization. This was I bit off way more than I could chew with this one because this thing is a behemoth of a video. Now, technically, there's 33,000 or something vehicle combinations. That is not humanly possible to do. So we have narrowed it down to I believe the number is 504 because certain vehicles have the same stats as each other. So, for example, like the roller tires and the Azure roller tires are the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. So, counting all the unique vehicle parts, it adds up to 504 combinations, which is still an unhealthy amount of Mario Kart to play. Yes. And to make it a little bit more difficult, I made it so every time I don't come in the top 3 of the race, I have to spin this wheel that like gives me a punishment, right? There are 10 punishments on that list. I've spun the wheel like 4 times. 3 out of those 4 times, I landed on doing a shot of lemon juice, and I have lost all feeling in my tongue. It is not fun. So, yeah, you guys have that to look forward to when that video comes out because it is just ruthless. Like, hopefully the video turns out well. I'm trying to make the content
What are
exciting.
some of the other punishments on the wheel?
I'll let you guys know. So one of them is the Wheel of Death, which if it lands on that 1 out of 10 chance for the Wheel of Death, I will then spin a different wheel where 80% chance nothing happens, 10% chance I have to restart the entire thing. But there's also a 10% chance I get to abduct you two. Haven't actually talked to you about this. Hope you're okay with it. Abduct you two, and you two get to help me out with the challenge as well. So hopefully I don't land on that because I don't want to even risk doing it all again. Now that I'm almost halfway through. But yeah, another one is Mac. You'll understand this. You know how in the Oculus Quest 2 there's the pass-through mode where it's all black and white, super fuzzy. I have to play races with that, which would be ruthless.
That would be terrible.
I've gotten one where I need to use tilt controls. I've gotten one where I need to do single Joy-Con. Yeah, single Joy-Con, not good because my hands were so used to the Pro Controller and I just was messing everything up. There's one where you have to take a full bite out of a banana without peeling it. It's just not a fun time. So hopefully I don't land on that one. That one sounds disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Bro, I'm excited for this video.
It should be pretty hype. I mean, it should be hype. I'm going to try and kind of edit it like a Mr. Beast style video because he does a fair amount of challenges. So I'm going to try and kind of take some inspiration from that in terms of the editing, like have it fast paced, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's going to be hard to make it fast paced because I have now like 7 or 8 hours of me just grinding N64 Rainbow Road because it is one of the shortest courses in the game and it's also like pretty easy. There's no like there's not too much variables and whatnot. I might switch over to Excite Bike, but at the first race I was doing like the first like 50 races random, just for some variety in the gameplay. The 4th race I get is Baby Park, and I got you guys will see in the clip. I got destroyed on the 7th lap. I got blue shelled, lightninged, red shelled, bombed, and bullet billed within the span of maybe 10 seconds.
I was
right in front of the
confused
finish
why
line.
you didn't use Baby Park at first because I would assume it was the shortest map, so you would pick that. But
it is, but pain is the reason I didn't do it because oh my gosh, awful. It is ruthless. The items. They just destroy you, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do in Baby Park. It is so bad. Yeah, but that video should be coming out soon. Yeah, no, that video should be coming out soon. It's not the first video I'm going to upload this year. That video, it will already be out, hopefully, by the time you're listening to this. So I can just tell you, it's the Pokemon Maker video that hopefully you guys have all already watched, liked, commented, and said, oh, wow, that's such a good video, Thomas. Oh, so cool.
And then shared with all your friends.
Oh, of course. No, yeah, we have, the 3 of us have a lot of really cool videos coming up. Like,
very excited.
We got some really interesting stuff. We won't spoil too much, even though some of them will be out by the time you're watching this. But yeah, should be really, really good gear. Like we have, I don't know. I'm very stoked for this year for both channels, Nintendo Tonight and Switched Up.
Yeah, I think we finally figured out like what we're gonna do. We finally like sat down and like planned out and scheduled how we're gonna do things, and I'm very, very optimistic about this year.
100%.
Like, how long was that
All
call?
right.
It had to be
Oh,
because it was 4 p.m.
Yesterday, we got on at 4, and all of us, I think, went to bed at like 3.
yeah.
So
that was like a 12-hour.
that was very
12-hour
unhealthy.
call.
Yeah.
We're not doing that again. But well, actually, we probably will end up doing it again. But the call where we were talking about like the future of the channel and all that, like we had like just a no breaks, like all of us discussing, plans, ambitions, creative, like what we want to do for. It was like 6, 7, 8 hours. Like we were just going for a while. So luckily, we now have plans. We have ideas, ambitions, and whatnot. So hopefully, you guys start seeing the results because we're really excited. Like this is a make or break year for us, as we've said it is for Nintendo as well. So should be really good.
Yep,
For sure.
I'm excited.
All right.
We are all excited. I think we share that sentiment for sure.
With that out of the way, PJ, bring up the leaks. It's time for everyone's favorite leak time. I don't know where I was going with that. All right.
The leak of the week.
The leak of the
Let's
week.
call it that.
That's actually a good one. We got quite a few leaks though here. So the leaks of the week. It's been
leaks
a very leaky week for sure. No, seriously though. Guys, it's that time again. 2022, it's the year is starting, and that means we are getting leak after leak after leak. As Max said, it has been a very, very leaky week. Leak of the week here. We have some leaks from Mark Amaro, who was essentially able to predict Metroid Dread. Last February, he responded to a comment essentially saying Metroid Dread. There was a little bit of banter between him and the person he was responding to, but he literally called Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread happened. He clearly has insider information, like he's been calling stuff for a while. And he went on a rampage on December 18th, and luckily, PJ has screenshotted all of those leaks. So, PJ, do you want to read off that first tweet for us?
For sure. So, Mark Amaro has told us that the initial plans for 2022 include Pokemon Legends Arceus, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Advance Wars remakes, a casual IP, which just is not named at the moment, Splatoon 3, Fire Emblem Echoes, if anyone cares about that, I doubt it, Detective Pikachu, Zelda Wind Waker / Twilight Princess ports to the Switch, which will be really cool, once again, Mario plus Rabbids 2, Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime, a new 2D DK, the Pokemon Let's Go sequels, hopefully that's fake, the Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, and a unnamed project from Monolith. So, what do you guys think of this? Because
I've got a question.
When we're looking at that,
I've got a question. If Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are both on the Switch, does that mean every 3D Zelda game will be on the Switch?
Are Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask both on N64 Online yet?
Well, Majora's Mask is coming soon.
So yeah, if that happens,
yes,
Almost,
it would be true. That's
pretty
really
crazy.
cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty neat. All right, so without diving into each of these games specifically, as I'm sure we will do that soon, give me a number rating for this year. If this all comes true, how would this year stack up in your eyes? Like out of 10?
I'd say like an 8.5.
I was gonna say 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up there. One thing for me, I would like a little bit more Mario. Mario plus Rabbids is not my favorite thing, and that's the only Mario representation
Mario
we
puts
have.
it up to like a 9.5 for me.
Yeah,
like Mario's
we
there.
get Mario Party DLC. We get any sort of Mario spin-off. We get any 2D or 3D Mario. This goes up to a 9, maybe even a 10. I mean, we got that new 2D DK, but it's not really the same.
Yep,
for sure.
100%.
All right. I just hope that Pokemon Let's Go is fake because I just can't be having
PJ
that.
hates Let's Go. He is not a fan of the Let's Go games,
Not a
which
fan
fair
at
enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and argue in defense of the Let's Go games there.
All right. Let us go to the next picture. Let's see. So there's Style Boutique. Who cares? All right.
Yeah.
So he says that 2022 will be the last strong year for the Nintendo Switch, since 2023 will be the start of a new generation for Nintendo with a new console, very similar to the actual Switch, but a little more powerful than the PS4 with 4K, new functions, and it's also compatible with old Switch games. He also notes that it's unclear when they're planning to release it. It should be during the holidays in 2023, but they have some games in the pipeline to make it a strong debut. So, Switch Pro, is it happening? What's the move?
I don't even get Switch Pro vibes from this. I get Switch 2 vibes from this. The interesting thing is, if it is backwards compatible, do they keep the naming convention? Because as we all know, with the channel called Switched Up, they changed the name. We're a little screwed.
We're scared.
I think I think if it's backwards compatible, it's
has
gotta
to
be a
be, right?
Switch.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way they'd go with this.
I mean, they've done Wii and GameCube like before, where obviously Wii isn't called GameCube 2. But to be fair, the Wii, like the main point of the Wii during marketing initially was obviously the motion controls. But for actual gamers, it was the virtual console and the fact that the Wii could play any Nintendo game in the past. So I think that's why they did that.
the Wii is
and the Switch
basically
has
just
such a strong brand.
Yeah. The Wii is just basically like a GameCube with Wi-Fi and motion controls, anyways.
Yeah, 100%. You're so right. Like graphically, it's not really an improvement much at all. So, I'm interested, man. I think this could be really cool. And it lines up timeline wise. Like if they're really not doing like a Switch 1.5 and they're really just jumping to Switch 2, it lines up with the holiday 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's exciting.
I think this is possible. I'm more leaning toward it not being true, but I don't know. I'm just not getting the vibe that 2023 is the year for the Switch 2.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from, Mac, but when you actually look at the history of the Switch console releases, they've had, a console release like every other year. You have the Switch, the original Switch in 2017, the Switch Lite 2019, or 2017 original Switch, sorry. Switch Lite in 2019, and in 2021 we got the Switch OLED. So, obviously if you just kind of go with that same kind of flow, we get a new console in 2023. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. I mean, hopefully it happens because it's interesting, but
Yeah.
we don't know. We will see.
We shall see indeed. All right, so next up here, we are
here it
apparently
is.
getting a new Mario Kart and a new 3D Mario, a complete edition of Smash Ultimate, which I assume would include, obviously, all the DLC, improved versions for Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel and Metroid Prime 4, and he also notes that he thinks at this point it's going to be the Breath of the Wild of the new console with a dual release, so assuming we get that Switch 2, it would release on both, and there's some casual games there too. And lastly, he notes here the actual Switch should be around it until at least 2024 with some compatible games for both systems, and then after that they will focus on the new console. So thoughts?
There's a fair amount to break down here. I would say this is like if the new Switch launches with a Mario Kart, a new 3D Mario, a complete edition of Smash Ultimate, which kind of slides into that like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, not necessarily new, but still a huge title. With like maybe Breath of the Wild 2 Definitive Edition because it says improved versions and Metroid Prime 4, there has never been, not just Nintendo console, there's never been a console launching with that great of new catalog.
Yeah, that would be the strongest release of all time for any game console. That would be crazy.
There's nothing to say, like there's not even anything we could remotely compare it to. I mean, the Switch had a phenomenal launch, and it had the original Breath of the Wild, which was crosses off, I guess, the Breath of the Wild sequel. You could say it had a Mario Kart because 8 Deluxe launched like 2 months after. Despite being a port, it still kind of counts, so we'll say it crossed off Mario. That's it. We didn't get a new 3D Mario till the end of the year. We didn't get Smash till 2 years. We obviously never got Metroid Prime on the Switch. Plus some casual games, this would cover every single group of gamers and would be absolutely huge.
For sure. I mean, and it also makes sense, right? Like when we're thinking about these Mario Kart 9 or 10, whatever they end up calling it, rumors, and then you also think about this new Switch release, it kind of makes perfect sense for a new Mario Kart to come out on that new system, right? I mean, when you think about it, it's just like puzzle pieces fitting together, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have...
For sure. So he also says, and to finish, I've been talking about a new racing game by Nintendo since 2 to 3 years ago.
Oh.
The project started as a racing game to be around Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as an alternative, but not as a Mario Kart. Apparently, things have changed a little bit since the last time I've heard about it. And he says the main idea and the best way to describe it is like a Mario Kart X Smash Bros. With a big focus in the online community, with lots of weekly stuff to do and new ways to race, not just karts and bikes, and new ways to take down other racers. So that kind of Nintendo Kart idea, I suppose. So what do you guys think?
Well, this does kind of coincide with another leak we were going to talk about in a bit, but I guess you could kind of just jump to it now, PJ, and we can talk about them both. Do we have the Mario Crossroads leak in this little section? Like, it's by the other dude.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yes, right here. Okay.
Perfect. So, yeah, Leaky Pandy also says Mario Kart 10 / Crossroads. The name is being used internally. Like both names are being used internally. Features multiple IPs. So these two coincide. Such as what I guess Marco Maro is originally saying is that Mario Kart 10, what will end up being Mario Kart 10, was originally developed to go alongside Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so it wasn't a Mario Kart game. But since 8 Deluxe just kept selling so well, they kept pushing this game back, and eventually it just kind of became a Mario Kart game during development, which is a little bit concerning, because if they're making a game and it's not supposed to be Mario Kart, but then they end up changing it to Mario Kart halfway through, how true to Mario Kart will it really be?
Yeah,
but at the same time, the fact that it's really making a change in the series is awesome, because we've been playing Mario Kart 8 since 2013, 2014, whenever that game came out. So, and honestly, Mario Kart 8 is not really that different from Mario Kart 7. Those two games are pretty much the exact same. It's just different tracks. So, and obviously one's on handheld, and some of the mechanics are a little bit different. But the fact that we would get a whole new take on Mario Kart, I'm pretty excited for it. Like, brand new courses, brand new items, all that is cool, but new mechanics is the real important thing we want here, and it sounds like we're getting that, man.
100%. I would love to see a new improvement or soft reboot of the Mario Kart franchise. Like, I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but like something different would be huge. Also, I'm confused. Why is it Mario Kart 10 and not Mario Kart 9?
I think the reason for that is because not only is there some sort of weird stigma, I'm not sure exactly why they're like tech companies do this, but they don't really have anything named 9. But Mario Kart 9 is considered to be Tour, is what I believe. I don't know if that's official, but I think that's just kind of like how it's been. But
interesting.
Yeah, I guess you could claim Mario Kart 9 is either Mario Kart Tour or Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. But also, You're totally right, PJ. Tech companies. We got Apple going straight from iPhone 8 to iPhone X, which is obviously
Windows.
10.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Like, they just do that, I guess. And obviously, if Nintendo is really trying to push this Mario Kart 10 sounds a lot better than Mario Kart 9.
It sounds a lot better, yeah.
Yeah,
I was just going to say that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's interesting.
All right. We can go back here and kind of get in order since we just temporarily went to that. Okay, so we were here. All right. Next thing here, Mark Amaro says, the thing is, after the insane sales for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it's still selling like hotcakes, Nintendo decided to not release it on the Switch and use it as a launch title for the next console as the quote-unquote new Mario Kart, even when this game wasn't supposed to be a Mario Kart at the beginning. Not sure how much of the original content will survive at the end, but it will be cool if they go to the quote-unquote Nintendo All-Stars route. So kind of just what we talked about.
Yeah, kind of what we talked about. I don't know. Like, could be interesting. I'm curious to see what Nintendo does here.
Cautiously optimistic, as the cool kids say. All right.
True.
Next up here, once again, Mark Amaro. The Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel is coming to the end of the development cycle very soon, so they should release the game next year with no delays, even if that means a December 2022 release. In quotes here, Light, Time, and Sky were some of the key names that they use in the development cycle, similar to what you mentioned before, Mac.
Yep.
And lastly, on this tweet, it will be the main event for the next E3. The Oracle remakes are 2023 plus. I think those were Game Boy Color games, the Oracle games. I believe so.
Yeah, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, I believe.
And Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD should be released before the end of the summer next year, or at least one of them, since I don't know if they're planning to release both as a single pack. Well, I hope they don't release it as a single pack, because if you're paying, like, so for example, games here in Canada are $79.99. I'm sorry, I'm not paying like, $160+ for like ports. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not even ports, they're ports of remakes. I mean, Wind Waker HD came out in 2012. Twilight Princess HD came out in 2016. Nintendo, if you don't put these two together in a pack and you want to buy, let's say you wanted to buy 2002's The Wind Waker. Let's say you wanted to buy 2006's Twilight Princess. Let's say you wanted to buy 2011's Skyward Sword. There is no way to go back and buy those older games directly from Nintendo. You have to buy the remakes because Nintendo doesn't have a good virtual console system. They just don't. So if you want to buy those games from literally up like 2 decades ago in Wind Waker's case, it would cost you in America's currency $180 plus tax. For you it would probably be $200 if you want to buy all 3.
Yeah.
So
plus tax. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that is absurd, Nintendo. If you don't make this a double pack, what are you doing? Oh, it could be so bad.
Yeah.
That's
So, Mac,
Nintendo
thoughts?
for you.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how to feel about this. I don't think porting these to the Switch is necessary. I don't see, like, we have so many ports. Like, it's basically just, like, the Switch is basically just half the games are ports. Like, I just get so annoyed by this because, like, I understand it in a way, but I really don't know. They treat them like they're full releases, like they're big games of the year, but they're 10-year-old, 12-year-old games. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't get it.
I have a rant to go on. I do have a rant to go on. So
Run it, boss.
So with all of these ports,
my
kind of like
water.
Max said, this is what kind of prompted me to do this. Like with all these ports, like you would have to think Nintendo is staying with the Switch, right? Because they're slowly making like all of their entire relevant library, like first-party library games on every console ever made available on the Switch. So for them to possibly go away from this, like, you know, Switch name or the Switch console in itself, like, you know, somewhere down the line and just kind of restart this entire thing, it's like, really? Like,
Yeah.
And it's just thinking about, you know, like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, like possibly being single packs and not double packs. It's like, this game has already been ported and remade, and you're gonna like port the it's just
No,
so
you're right.
frustrating to watch. Like, I don't know. It's concerning. It really is concerning because, you know, I do like, it would be really, really nice to have Wind Waker and, you know, Twilight Princess at the palm of my hand in a little game cartridge instead of like a disc and pulling up my Wii U or something. But it's like kind of concerning.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know.
in a way, it's cool because we're getting all
It's
these
cool
old
for
games on
now.
the Switch, but also
cool for now,
I,
yeah.
I don't like the way they treat them as like big releases. Like
Yeah.
during a Nintendo Direct, they'll have an entire trailer for a port of a 20-year-old game.
And they'll like reintroduce us the story and all of this.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. Like, what are we doing right now? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's worrying.
It's a bit
the
weird.
the fact that they have ported so many games over to the Switch means that if their next console is not backwards compatible with the Switch, they are the greediest company of all time. Because what that means is that they would start, like, they would do an entire port, you know, I guess collection, and then restart and do it all again. What?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it
Make me cringe
don't
just
know.
thinking about it, man. Like, awful. Awful.
Not good. Not good at all.
Moving away from that, though, the Oracle remakes could be exciting because I'm thinking if they did that in the Link's Awakening art style, I believe that game is called,
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be really cool. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that art style is really nice. I would like to see him use it again, I guess.
yeah.
I mean,
like that.
if the Oracle games are being remade, I feel like that's kind of the only way they go about it because, like, they're not going to be 3D. Like, come on now. There's no way.
Yeah.
So I think that would be definitely the way to go. So, yeah. I also think it's kind of cool, Mac, how Marco mentioned Sky here.
Oh yeah.
Internally. And, you know, that could be exciting. You know, you
Yep.
could be on the right track there for the title. So
I would love to
yes.
be right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
All right, moving on here. All right, so Advance Wars 1
I'm just
and
going to
2
be on. Hold on,
Yeah,
wait,
skip,
PJ.
Skip.
This, yeah, I was about to say this is Advance Wars, and then the tweet under it was Fire Emblem. We do not care about either of those. I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're like, but Advance Wars. I'm sorry. We do not need to read that.
Nope.
Yeah, agreed.
Nope.
Agreed. I just did it because we had it, so.
Yeah, no, fair. More than
All right,
fair.
moving on here. So, Nintendo is very happy with the sales for Metroid Dread with 2 million plus sales after 2 months, and they are planning to release some free DLC, such as a new difficulty modes at some point next year. And the Metroid Prime remasters announcement is coming very soon since they want to keep the momentum for the franchise, and the project is complete. He also says Metroid Prime 4 in 2023. And also, kind of a cryptic tweet here says, also, it would be a smart move to release an HD version of Samus Returns with some improvements in 2023. So that could also be
a lot to break down
a lot
here.
to digest here for sure.
I would understand, like, Metroid Dread having free DLC sounds perfectly reasonable. I think adding a new difficulty mode, maybe add, like, an easy mode. I don't know if people think that game was too hard. It's beyond me. PJ, you're the only one who's, like, really played it, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's hard necessarily. I don't think it's difficult. I think sometimes I'll die because I'll just be, like, spamming stuff and, like, not using my brain. But, like, when I actually, like, kind of like actually use my brain and think about what I'm doing, I find it, like, pretty normal. It's not hard, but it's not easy. It's a nice challenge.
How that works.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Yeah. So Dread, that sounds great, but then more interestingly, Metroid Prime, he says Metroid Prime remasters. Do we think they're going to go in and remaster these games in a nicer art style, or are they just porting the trilogy that's been
They're
on Wii
porting
U
the
for
trilogy.
years?
Yeah.
I mean, I predicted this for a long time that, with Dread doing well, like, we've even said in calls, right? Like, just kind of talking past few days. Like, Metroid Prime trilogy is going to be released soon thereafter. Like, Dread's success has, the series has kind of revived itself and people are showing interest again. So, to kind of hype up Metroid Prime 4, they're going to show this new fan base, what the Prime series is about by, doing the trilogy in HD. Like, they literally will call it Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, $60 regular game, just, release it. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it released in, like, February or something. Like, if they announced it in the Direct, and it released in February of this year, like, that would not shock me at all. So that would be exciting. And Metroid Prime 4 in 2023, that makes sense too. There's been a lot of kind of development, like, restarts, I believe, and talk all about that. So 2023, after all of that, does make some sense. So I'm excited.
Bro, what is the record for, like, how long since, like, announcement to release a game has been? Because 2017 releasing 2023, that's 5 years, 6 years.
Cyberpunk had, like, 11, I'm pretty sure.
11? Okay, so
Yeah.
it takes second place.
Though, right?
It takes second place, yeah.
True. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's wild, but there are some games that have been stuck in development hell for a while. I think Duke Nukem Forever was actually 18 years, which is wild to think about, considering I just turned 19. Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, it's crazy. But there have been some games that have taken a while, but you were right, Mac. Metroid Prime 4 has been in there for quite a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so exciting stuff for sure. Metroid series is definitely going in the right direction, in my opinion. That would be exciting. Samus Returns with some improvements in 2023. That is kind of confusing to be releasing it that close to Metroid Prime 4. I thought they would wait till, like, 2024 or even 5 for that, maybe. Considering it's a 3DS game, like, was that not released in, like, 2017, or am I just completely wrong?
Yeah. No, it was.
Yeah. So to bring a 3D, like, unless they were already working on this, and it's made by the same company that developed Dread, right?
Correct.
So that's really weird to me, especially bringing a 3DS game to the Switch. I think that's also the first time we've seen that, so that's a whole new thing.
Yeah, from Nintendo, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That opens up the
Kid Icarus
floodgates.
Uprising.
Please.
Yes.
Kid Icarus Uprising.
So
please.
many other games. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Port
Crazy.
Central, once again, I thought we were going away from it, but I guess not. So I found this interesting. This wasn't a, like, announcement tweet that, he was just leaking everything. But this person asked Marco, was the Paper Mario remake a mistake, or maybe info that got twisted with the Paper Mario 64 release for Nintendo Switch Online? And then Marco replied saying, no, it wasn't. This is a 2023 plus project. So it looks like it's not clear if it's Paper Mario 64, or, well, actually, no, it is. The Paper Mario 64 remake, or if it's a Thousand Year Door remake, who knows? But regardless, that's kind of exciting, and, I thought that was interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that.
It doesn't make sense because they're releasing on NSO, and...
Well, they did that with... They did that with Super Mario 64 also.
Yeah, but that
on
wasn't
3D
a
All-Stars.
remake. That was just a port, basically. I don't know.
True, but I think a remake even makes more sense. I mean, a port, it's literally the
Yeah.
exact same game, just on the console twice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nintendo's weird. They don't really think far enough in advance when it comes to their virtual console stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that
weird.
was
They make it
that
up
was
as they
evident.
go. Yeah.
Literally, yeah. I mean, that was evident when we're talking about the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker port stuff and that whole mini rant
yeah.
that I went on. So anyway,
Yeah.
could be
Not
interesting.
mad about it. Not psyched about it. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Cool.
kinda,
yeah.
yeah. I hope it's a 1,000-Year Door because that is the GOAT Paper Mario game for sure. All right, moving on here. So we touched on this earlier when we were talking about Mario Kart 9/10/Crossroads, whatever you want to call it. But we have a new
Ultimate.
leaker. Yes, of course. We have a new leaker named Leaky Pandy. We reviewed this person's tweets before, but yeah, in past episodes. So first tweet here, new games expected to be revealed this year. Heard of a Xenoblade side game, action slash adventure, Rogue Squadron 4. Don't know what that is, so I'm skipping over that. Mario Kart 10/Crossroads. They've been exposed to multiple names, unsure of the final one, features multiple IP, and a Pikmin title from Next Level Games. So what are we thinking here?
Now,
All
when
right,
it says Pikmin title, does that mean a Pikmin 4?
I believe so. I think we're getting to that.
Because it doesn't say side game. It says
Yeah.
title. Okay.
It sounds to me like Pikmin 4, which kind of makes sense because if it's being developed by Next Level Games, that would explain the fact that they've restarted development a couple times because originally Miyamoto was developing it, obviously, all by himself, just Shigeru typing away on a computer. No,
That's why it
but
took
like
so
his
long.
team was developing it.
Yep.
Yeah, back in 2015, must have had a restart and gone to Next Level Games. Rogue Squadron is a Star Wars game. Pretty interesting that it's, I guess, specifically a Nintendo title because he put it in the Nintendo section. Xenoblade side game, that makes sense. I don't think they're going to do a Xenoblade 3 yet because I feel like at least Monolith kind of likes doing, like, they did Xenoblade 1 on the Wii, Xenoblade X on the Wii U, Xenoblade 2 on the Switch, and they might just want to do another side game, like something like Torna of the Golden Country instead of doing 3 also on the Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this could possibly be a Chronicles X, or I don't know if it's called Chronicles X, but Xenoblade X, whatever that full title is. That could also be it. I remember earlier we were talking about a
Oh, a
Monolith,
port.
Yeah, Untitled Monolith game. So it
So
could
maybe
possibly
that,
be
yeah.
an X port for sure, but not too sure.
I'm pretty sure
but,
X
yeah.
started out as like a completely different game, and then they just put the Xenoblade like name
Yeah.
on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
Yeah.
much about Xenoblade, but I knew
Me
that, and yeah,
Yeah, it's like a completely different universe, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's like the last kind of big Wii U game that hasn't been ported, and people have been asking for it forever. So, who
Sure.
knows? I guess we shall see.
for sure.
Okay.
Those aren't really Nintendo.
We skipped that, except for Pokken Tournament 2. But like that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was one of the first ports over Pokken Tournament DX.
I'm pretty sure that was the first port.
Yeah, it was. It was
No,
yeah.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
The second.
Besides Mario Kart,
Second?
the second, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's it for the leak section. So
Awesome.
Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of leaks. Obviously, not all these will be true, and even if some of them are true, development delays because of COVID might push them a little back. But that's a lot of stuff to be excited for, man. Even if you don't believe in it, it's fun to just talk about.
For sure.
100%. I mean, with all that stuff that we talked about, what do you guys think is kind of your most anticipated possible announcement out of all that?
Oh, Mario Kart, 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I would choose something else for the content, just say something else, but Mario, it's
Mario
not even
Kart.
close.
It's
It's Mario Kart.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right.
Agreed.
Well, 2022 is looking really nice. However, one thing seems to be missing from all the rumors, all the leaks, and all the games that Nintendo has announced. We do not have many Mario games coming in 2022. Of course, we have Mario plus Rabbids. If you're a huge fan of that, congratulations. But there's not too many huge Mario Rabbids fans. No big 2D or 3D Mario Adventure, which kind of does make sense considering we just had 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and 3D All-Stars, which kind of had 3 games in one, although, probably didn't take too much development time. But we figured here on the Nintendo Tonight podcast, PJ Mack and I would make a tier list of all the 3D Mario games, including Super Mario 64, all the way through Odyssey, all the way through Bowser's Fury. It should be interesting, man. We got some opinions. I'm sure some opinions will differ. I'm down to just start ranking these if you guys are.
Yeah.
100%.
How do we want to do it? Do we want to go from from chronological order? Or are we going to go?
Yeah, let's do chronological.
That sounds good to me.
All right.
All right. Super Mario 64.
64. This is interesting. Where do you
My
guys
gut
thinking?
says A.
I
My gut says A.
yeah, I think
Hasn't aged the best.
I think 64, it goes back and forth between another game that we'll talk about later as probably one of my favorites. I just love how, like, compact it is for how old it is, but yet the controls are just still so, I don't know.
The camera isn't the best.
It isn't the best. It isn't the best, but it's grown, like, such a big community, especially with, like, speed running, and it's just so iconic. So yeah, I think A is fair. I think A is very fair.
Viewing the actual game itself, I would say it's an A. Viewing like the legacy and impact and everything it's had,
S.
100% S. But since it was literally the first 3D game Nintendo ever made, there are just some like blatant problems with it that the other games don't have as much. The camera, phenomenal
most
for a
notably.
3D platformer at the time, but yeah, it's not
It has-
not
it-
the best now.
It has not aged well.
Yeah, not aged the best. Although some parts of that game have even aged really well when you think about like other games from the time. So props to the Super Mario 64. Like it's a great game. Could potentially go up S later, but for now I think we'll keep it in A.
Agreed.
Yep.
Okay. So Sunshine is my favorite game, so I would personally put it in S, but I have a feeling we're going to agree on B. What do you think?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say B. B seems good to me. I
Matt.
think it's
I go back and forth on loving and hating Sunshine all the time. I have no. It's just so. It's so different from so many
It is.
Mario games. Like I love that they went with like a coast, like an island theme for this one.
I
'cause,
love
like,
it. Yeah.
It's like the only game that sticks to a theme the entire way through, which I think is super cool. But at times it gets a little bit repetitive. Like, oh, here we go, another water level. Flood, I don't know if this is unpopular or popular, but I love Flood. I think Flood's
Yeah, me
super
too.
cool. I'd be willing to put it in A below 64.
Yeah.
yeah. I'd be fine with that too. I think we can put it in. Yeah, let's leave it there for now, and we might end up moving it down. We'll review all these once we're done.
For sure.
So next up, we have our first remake on this one. Really, the only remake. 64 DS. I put this in either C or B. I mean, there's new content in there,
Wow.
which is cool, but
Really?
it's a 3D platformer using a D-pad. I mean, it is just not fun to play. Like, you play this on an emulator, it's okay. It's not terrible. You play this on a DS, like, it's the first time I experienced Super Mario 64, so I have some nostalgia for it, but
Me too.
it really is just not, it's not good. Like, it
I
doesn't
agree.
play as well as 64 does.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So you,
Like
we're
the
taking
added
C?
content, I think is cool, but I don't think it's. I think C is where it belongs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, the D-pad
sorry.
really chalks. I'm just gonna finish this real quick. The D-pad
No, you're good.
really chalks it, but like I do prefer it over regular 64 again, just like you said, the nostalgia, right? So
I got you, yeah. Super Mario
has
Galaxy,
to
this
be
is a
S,
big
right?
one.
It has to be.
You crazy?
Oh god,
What?
our first fight.
Galaxy
What are
is
you-
not a good game. Okay, I have a lot of nostalgia for Galaxy because it's the Mario game I grew up with. It's probably my first Mario game.
That's
But
why it doesn't make sense. What are you?
It aged so bad. It's so slow. The controls are just so. The controls in 64 I think are better. Honestly,
What? There's. No,
I get
there's
what
no
you're
shot.
saying, but I
Mac,
don't
hold on.
100% agree.
I think
Mac,
it's.
is-
I
is
think
this-
it's a
is this
B.
part-
I think it's
Is
B.
this part of your BLJ pain? Tell me. Is this why? Your failure of the BLJ in 64, is this why? Tell me now. Is it why?
No, I love Galaxy. There's so the music is amazing. The atmosphere is
Yeah,
amazing. The
yes.
gameplay it just it doesn't hold up. Like I remember loving it as a
Wow.
kid, but I went back to play it on 3D All Stars. I don't think it's a good game.
Wow. Wow.
All right.
What do you think?
I would say it's so tough because everything besides the movement of Mario is
this
amazing.
Is what I think.
But
I
isn't the movement of Mario like the key point of what makes a Mario game?
is.
Yeah.
I would say it's below 64, bump Sunshine down to B.
Really?
I think it's below Sunshine.
Yeah, but that's you. PJ thinks it's S. I think it's A.
PJ's going to put Sunshine above everything, so...
That, like, I would put Sunshine in S. So, like
Oh,
if
God.
this was my list or something, I would do this, right? But, like...
Oh,
here
no.
you go.
Oh,
If we're doing a compromise,
I'd be fine. I'd be
No,
fine
like-
with it in A below Sunshine. I'd be fine with that. Like, I enjoy the
Alright.
game. I was a little bit hyperbolic, but I think Sunshine's better than Galaxy.
all right. I think though we gotta bump Sunshine down to B then. No,
You think? Yeah.
because
Okay.
if Galaxy's above it, I think having 3 in A is a little no bueno.
That makes sense. Yep.
All right, Super
You're
Mario
really
Galaxy 2.
you're really gonna let Thomas talk
Uh-oh.
you out of Sunshine in A?
Dude.
Oh, big drama going
That's a-
on.
you're
here.
really gonna let him
Switch
do
off
that?
HQ. Hey man, it's
that's a good
Mac.
point.
It's either Sunshine in A or Galaxy, or it's either Sunshine in B or Galaxy in B. So
I
Like,
think Galaxy in B.
objectively,
you think Galaxy in B?
no, but objectively, Galaxy, it's just such a beautiful
The
game.
atmosphere
Like,
is amazing. I love listening to the music when I'm like doing homework or something. But if I'm gonna pick a game, I'd rather play 64 or Sunshine.
dude, that's hard. Do we want to skip over this and come back to it? Because I feel like
I
might
think we
be-
leave it as is right now,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
we'll come back to it. Although this might be also controversial. People say Galaxy 2 is better than Galaxy. Put Galaxy 2 in D tier. I hate that game. I'm just gonna be
Not a
honest.
chance.
I
Not
think
a
that game is
chance.
god awful. I think it is not a good game.
I
Like just
think-
objectively.
I think it should be right here.
I think
in
that's
C
fair.
with
I like
64
that.
DS.
I think it's fair. I think
And,
if
okay,
you're
let,
looking
let,
at
let
all
us
these
be
games,
clear. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I think we're about to say the same thing. All these games are better than 99.9% of games
100%,
out there.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
we're
So this
just
is hard.
we're when you're ranking the Titans, we can't all just have everything in S and A and just order them, all right? Like we got to make it somewhat interesting. The reason I don't like Galaxy 2, it quite simply comes down to, in my opinion, and Mac's opinion apparently, the movement in Galaxy is a bit slow. I don't really like the movement in Galaxy. Galaxy 2 removes all the parts I liked about Galaxy, such as the kind
made
of
it
interesting
linear.
story, the hub world, the like all that stuff, and they kind of either didn't really improve upon it. Like the music in Galaxy 2 is good, but it's not distinctly better. The graphics aren't distinctly better. They're the same. The level design isn't distinctly better. It's also, it removed interesting things I liked about it.
Yeah.
Like the story, it removed the hub world, which, in some cases I think the hub world is like, we don't need a hub world. Like I don't think 3D World needed a hub world. But the Galaxy style, like those games, those levels are not as linear as 3D World, so a hub world kind of makes sense in that style. And Galaxy 2 just completely got rid of it. Don't talk to me about Spaceship Mario. It does not count. It does not count. That is a glitch accidentally left in by Nintendo. It is the worst thing in any of these games.
Yeah.
I 100%
isn't-
agree.
Isn't the
100%
disc
agree.
name or something internally like it's some sort of thing?
It's
with
Mario
Galaxy
Galaxy 1.5.
Yeah. So
They
Yeah.
were
Galaxy.
it was
Yeah, go
originally
ahead.
supposed to be DLC. I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
was gonna
sure,
say
and
that.
then they just had so many ideas they put into another game, which
Yep.
Yeah.
awesome. We get more Mario Galaxy levels to waste our time in, but
It's not. Yeah.
he said waste our time, and oh my god. Okay.
But yeah, last thing I want to say about Galaxy 2, it takes away everything that I love about Galaxy.
Agreed.
Like-
yeah, agreed.
Like Thomas said, no common observatory, music not as good. It has Yoshi, great, but
He's in
yeah.
like 3 levels though. People bring up
Yeah.
Yoshi as in he's like the
It's just
saving
'cause he's
grace
on
of that
the
game.
cover. Like, people just kinda
he's-
talk, yeah.
he's on the cover and he was in like the first trailer. He is in a handful of levels. Most of the time you use them, I'm gonna be honest, not fun. I don't like clicking on the little thing that Yoshi starts to lick and then you spin around. That is not enjoyable gameplay for me. Like I'm just gonna be honest. It's not
agree.
fun. It's not why I play 3D Mario.
Yeah. And for those people who like played the very last level of Galaxy 2, I forget what it was called. It was like the final Galaxy where you got like the 242nd star or something, and it was like this very painful Yoshi segment. So I'm sure that people who have grinded through that probably don't want to see it again. So anyway, what are we thinking of 3D Land, boys?
I like 3D Land.
I
don't think it's.
This is what I think. Like I liked 3D Land, but it was just like.
You think C tier?
I would agree. It's objectively not as creative as Galaxy 2, and even though, in my opinion, some of the platforming is better, I cannot, in good conscience, say it is a better overall game than Galaxy 2.
It is the most vanilla Mario game of all time. If I were to explain Mario to somebody who's never heard of Mario, I would show them 3D Land.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad game, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just okay. And you can even tell by the cover, right? It's just like... Out of all of the titles, it's like the most plain. Like if you look at all of these, like it's obviously just supposed to show off the fact that it's like a 3D game. But it's like other than that, there's no real gimmick. Like other than the Tanuki suit, like in the shadow. But like we've seen that suit before, right? So it's like
not that interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So
I'm gonna shut up because everyone knows where I'd put this game. So actually, honestly, I would not put this game in S tier.
So I'm going to do this. I think I do this because the reason that I do this is because we know what's going in S.
Okay, let me say my 2 cents.
Run it.
I love 3D World. I did not expect to love it. Before I joined the channel, it was all 3D World
on there.
It's like a
virus. It's like a virus.
Oh, yeah. I thought Thomas was just overreacting for the content. I'm being completely honest. I thought he was just overreacting for content. But I played through the entire game with my 2 younger sisters. It's playing 3D World. The main thing that makes it good is its multiplayer. Mm-hmm. Multiplayer makes that game. Without multiplayer, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I probably have some of the best memories.
It's top of C tier without multiplayer. It's better than Galaxy 2, but
I put it in B.
Okay. I'd say C or B tier, low B, without multiplayer. With multiplayer, and the way the multiplayer is done is so fun. The fact that it counts up the scores at the end, it's got that kind of versus, but you're still cooperative. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, I would put this in S tier, but there's better stuff, so don't want to do that. I'd say this is A tier. I'd say it's below 64, but above Galaxy. That's my...
I like that.
Yeah, really? I think... Because you got it, like, 64... See, the thing is, 64 has things that just didn't age super well.
Yeah, like this is what I think. Like, I think if you just put the nostalgia away for a second and kind of think like, what is the more enjoyable game, right? It's like
then you're right. It's above.
Like personally, I think this is like let me know.
Okay,
but this is what I think.
I played 64 for the first time on 3D All Stars at like 19, 18 years old. No nostalgia whatsoever for 64. I have enjoyed that game so much more than probably any other Mario game I've ever played. I don't know why. There's just something about 64 that's huge, and you just moved Galaxy in a weird way, and I'm not enjoying that.
He hates it.
No, I'm fine with that. I think 3D World's above Galaxy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with 64 staying
I think
up
that
top
looks good.
There's something about the compact nature of Super Mario 64 that no other game has really tried to replicate or replicated. And like the fact that you really don't know what's around each corner because the game is short enough where it's got so many different mechanics that honestly, a bit of a spoiler, the only game that feels as consistently unique as 3D World is Bowser's Fury. But we'll get to that. Let me rephrase that because that's an important thing and I don't want to misspeak on it. The only game that feels as consistently unique as Super Mario 64 is Bowser's Fury, in my opinion. Because they're both short games. They don't have to like reuse much. They can constantly surprise the player, which none of these other games really do. Like you'll always run into repeat assets and whatnot. Or repeated missions, repeated puzzles, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think its limitations actually make it better. Like like you said, the compactness and how they were able to. It just there's so much to explore within Peach's Castle, and I think it's a great game.
Yeah, beautiful. Sure. All right, Super Mario Odyssey.
So
this is where the going gets tough.
We agree.
I agree.
I would
Thomas.
say S. Yeah, I would
okay.
say S.
You
But
were
this is-
looking
this
a
is-
little.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because
It's the post game. The post game, in there's just so many moons that like get under your skin, or just like they're just copies.
Yeah. there
but
is stuff in
It
Odyssey
depends
I
if you're a
don't like.
completionist, though, right?
That's what I'm saying.
True.
Like if you're not a completionist, it's yeah.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
I'm not a completionist. I just kind of like get the moons as I go, and like I'll try to complete every world, but it's like
Yeah.
it's like like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be fussed if I miss a couple or something, right? So
I
that's
got
why I
you.
think it's
I
S.
mean, as considering we're trying to do this list as unbiased as possible, obviously, we'd all have different lists. This is kind of an amalgamation of all of our lists, so therefore it's kind of none of our lists, which is interesting. But
Yeah.
I get Odyssey. There are some things that Odyssey does that I, quite frankly, do not like. I think they're not good. But with that
example?
being said, multiplayer, I don't like the reuse of certain moons. I don't like I don't like the reuse of certain moons. I don't like certain moons in general. I don't like that not all moons are like equal. Like some moons are just out and about, but some are like, you got to do this insane
Yeah.
platforming challenge to get it. With that being said, the stuff that Odyssey does well is so good that I think the peaks of Odyssey are better than any other 3D Mario game.
I can agree
Yeah,
with that.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's a
and
flawed
therefore
game.
it has to be S.
Yeah, it's a flawed game, but it's like you said, the peaks are so much higher than the valleys. So
Yeah. Also, it has costumes. None of these other games
Yeah,
have costumes.
that- I
The
love
costumes are so
that.
sick.
yeah,
I love
Yeah.
that personally.
Something to use your coins on. All right. This is a weird one.
This
It's
may
a little
be
bit
the
of a
most
cheat.
controversial of all.
3D All Stars. Where do we put this? It's a
how do we
compilation
rank
of
it?
two-
Do we
it's a
rank it as a
compilation of 2A
compilation,
games.
or do we rank it as all three of the games?
I think we rank it as a compilation because it has its issues that we can talk about now because maybe obviously some people haven't seen our old 3D
Yeah.
All Stars predictions / wants and blah 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 from years past and all that. So I think we can talk about like what the game does good, what the game does bad. And since we already ranked all the 3 games, I think we can kind of just take it as like one full game, as in like it has the 3 ported games plus all the music in the music player or whatever. So I mean I guess Thomas go first. What just
I
thoughts
say
on it?
that it's so tough, but I say the top of B because it has 3 of the greatest games of all time. But in my opinion, the only game that gets a actual improvement is Sunshine.
Yeah.
I think 64 is made worse because there's no graphical improvements to 64, and it also gets rid of like fun glitches like the BLJ. I think Galaxy,
Which are added to Switch Online, by the way. Like, so weird.
Galaxy, I think, is good, but the gyro on the Switch isn't perfect, and it's nice to be able to play it with a button for the swinging, but I don't know. So Galaxy, I don't think, was massively improved. Sunshine does, however, get a massive improvement. Just objectively, it does. It looks way better. It's just better. The controls are a little bit better, in my opinion. I just like how it feels more. So I gotta say top of B because it's not a great compilation by any means, but it's also good enough at what it does where it's like a pretty average compilation. Like it's not awful. It's just not nothing super special.
Yeah. So
I think that's fair. I think it's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think the game is a little weird because there were like it just feels so lazily done. I think we can all agree with this because it's like Sunshine. Like, why did it take like 2 months for them to add GameCube controller support to a console that has a GameCube like
Adapter?
That's the word. Sorry, like first Smash and everything. Why did it take 2 months to add like its like native controller? I have no idea. That I'm still confused about that. And it was really disappointing that they didn't really make any sort of changes. They just kind of compiled the games together, put the music player in, made the menu, and said, "Here you go, done." It's like
It probably took them like maybe a week to make 3D All Stars. Like, being
like
completely
I wish
honest.
there was actual improvements to the games. Like I'll focus
Yeah.
on Sunshine here, but like, a blue coin tracker, because
Yeah.
it just gets confusing at times. Like if you are a completionist, which I am for that game, weirdly enough, but normally I'm not. Like there's just no sort of like real tracker that is implemented like smartly. At least it's like a lot of weird workarounds where you open the menu, press Z, the game lags because it's just an emulated GameCube game and it takes 2 years to reach it. Just like stuff like that is kind of frustrating. And Thomas, what you brought up about 64, it's really weird, and the aspect ratio obviously not matching the other games. It's just really odd, and I think where we have it placed in B is pretty solid because it's just an all right compilation, but it just has the 3 greatest games of all time, so it's hard to put it really any lower. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, Mac, you have anything else?
No, I think its placement is actually perfect. I think, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
We're
know
gonna
this
use
is
this.
here.
Are we gonna do this as Bowser's Fury because we already have 3D World in the list? I think we count it as Bowser's Fury and not.
So
the
the-
I
collection.
disagree.
So the
You
reason that
disagree.
I think we disagree here is because 1, there's Bowser's Fury. 2, the online multiplayer is a huge thing, right?
Yeah,
true.
I think the additions to 3D World, in my opinion, are as important as the say the additions in Super Mario 64 DS. Like, there's not that extra content, like new characters and levels that were added into that game, but the entire way you play the game is overhauled with the updated speed, plus the online, plus the
speed,
addition
right.
of a move, the dive.
Right, yeah.
Like the dive was added into that. It feels completely different. It feels like a better version of 3D World, in my
It's just
opinion.
a polished version. It's great. Yep.
Yeah,
I can
and
agree with that. I can agree.
if
with
you add the fact that Bowser's Fury is in there, I'm gonna say it. In my opinion, it's top of S. I'll let you two decide where it goes because obviously I'm biased. I think it's a better if you pay $60. If you have $60 right now to spend on a 3D Mario game,
I've
are you
been
buying-
saying this in YouTube videos for weeks now. I think it's the best bang for your buck game you can buy on the market.
For sure.
I think it's
You get-
$60. It's
Yeah.
better than Odyssey. I don't know.
But what
I'll
do
say
you
it.
prioritize though? It depends on what like you really want to play. Would you prioritize because if you're gonna buy 3D World, I feel like let me rephrase. So if you're gonna choose Odyssey and 3D World plus Bowser's Fury to buy, there's a couple not values, but things that you need to think about. Are you mainly going to be playing this game alone? Like, do you want a single player experience, or are you buying it so that you can play it with other people? That's the thing. Because if we go from that route, we could say, 3D World over Odyssey because I want to play multiplayer, or Odyssey over 3D World because Odyssey is just feels like such a bigger world experience, open world, and single player. The cabbing mechanic is super fun. The music is great. Blah blah blah. Of
It
course, 3D
really
World's music
depends
is
on
great,
how
but-
you want to play.
Exactly.
If you're playing 3D World by yourself, I think Odyssey's a better game. If you're playing 3D World multiplayer, I think 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is the better game for you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It depends on circumstance.
Exactly.
I agree.
But yeah.
But the fact that it also has Bowser's Fury that can work
Yeah.
as a single player experience, like Odyssey has nothing for multiplayer. 3D World does have something for single player.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm fine putting it above Odyssey.
Yeah. That's
Let's go.
That's really hard for me because
But
I
I
just
have
feel like
one-
Odyssey is the more polished game. But it's like when you think of 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, it's like what it's kind of funny because I'm gonna link this to 3D All Stars. It's disappointing in the fact that what was added to that game should have been what 3D All Stars was. To be honest, right? Because when we were first talking about 3D World and all of those rumors, and by we I mean mostly Thomas, we were expecting like a few new levels and like maybe a new character or something like that, like an easy mode or maybe a very hard mode or something. But it kind of exceeded expectations. The speed improvement, like shockingly, is a really nice addition to the game. Bowser's Fury is a fun little adventure, although it feels short. It's kind of Odyssey-like, which is pretty cool. And the online multiplayer, there you go, really great. And obviously we tested it out first day as Thomas and I went on the Switch Stop channel before Mac was in the channel, I believe.
Yeah.
No, Mac.
No, that was like
No,
a
that was
week
a
before I
bit before.
joined.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we actually played through the entire, main game on stream, so that was really fun. But yeah, it just depends. It's hard. 3D All Stars really should have had like those improvements that 3D World did, like the Blue Coin Tracker, just for example, I guess, right? So it's kind of sad in that aspect. But when it comes to these two games, like we agree that they are an S, but it just kind of comes down to what kind of play style do you like kind of want to have when playing between these two games? Because arguably, I think these are like the peaks of like the two sides of 3D Mario, right? So
I agree.
At least for now until Odyssey 2 comes out. So yeah.
I really like this list. My only thing that I would change would be I'd flip Galaxy and Sunshine, but
okay, so
that's just
we can go to that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Before we kind of finalize it, so Mac thinks we should switch Sunshine and Galaxy. Thomas, what do you think?
Personally, I like it how it is. I can totally see what he means, though. I would not be opposed to switching Sunshine and 3D All Stars, so they're at least a bit closer. But I mean, I could see it go either way. Personally, I'm fine with how it is, but I could no, yeah, switch that. I'm talking now about Galaxy and Sunshine. I could see those two games switching. It doesn't really bother me either way we go for it. Because we're never gonna get a perfect list. There's 3 people doing one list, but I'm fine either way. It's not a huge deal.
So
what do you think, DJ?
I can't lie. What I want to do right now is
make some big changes, PJ.
I kind of want to do this. I'm not gonna lie, and the reason that I say that is because when I'm thinking back to my playthrough of 3D Land, and like I've obviously played all of these 3D Marios. When I'm thinking back to my playthrough of 3D Land, it was just so bland and boring because the whole 3DS gimmick, it really it got chalked at the end, basically, like at the end of its cycle, because at the beginning it was 3D focused, but as the console ages, like who uses 3D anymore? And by the end of its console cycle and all of the mini re-releases and the 2DS whole family of consoles, we just ended up a 2DS XL, which is a 3DS without the 3D, which is what it probably should have been originally, because all of these different like 3DS actual aspects were really not used that far into the console's like life cycle whatsoever, other than the first like year or two with like the AR cards and all of this stuff. It's like it was basically just a better running DS. So it's like 3D Land in and of itself, I saw where it was going with the gimmick, but thinking of back to when I played it, it was just like not it.
I can agree. Like, of course, I have nostalgia for 3D Land because I love the 3DS era.
Yeah,
but
me too.
3D Land, I feel it doesn't. All the other games, they have like a charm to them. I feel like 3D Land almost has no soul.
Exactly. Like it's just so forgettable when you think about it, right? Like I don't know.
I can agree with that.
It's just not inherently a bad game. It's just kind of unforgettable, and it really, like Max said, just has no soul. I guess.
I agree. It feels like an appetizer to 3D World because 3D Land has the linear levels are great in multiplayer, not the most fun in single player. And since there is no multiplayer in 3D Land, I totally agree with it being in D tier. I'm fine with this list. We can put a little annotation in saying that Mac wants Galaxy and Sunshine to be switched. But as is right now, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Should we go through it for the audio listeners so they know what it looks like?
We will. I think I think we're not done yet.
Oh boy.
I really want to do this for some reason.
Okay.
I've just realized Sunshine from Galaxy.
I just realized we didn't explain it. Audio listeners, we moved 3D Land from C to D. That was the thing we just did in the past. I'm so sorry. I kind of forgot audio listeners. Tier list not the best thing for an audio medium. We'll try and
we will read it out.
We'll figure out a better way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I want to do that, honestly. That's just me though. I'm open to criticism.
So what did you just do?
So I moved Sunshine right in between, so worse than 3D World, better than Galaxy in A tier. Really quick.
Okay.
Of course, I like that.
I'm fine with it, but we got to move Galaxy then down to B tier because I don't think we can have 4 A tiers. I don't want to have 4 A tiers. Or 64 up to S tier.
I like that. I like that.
Really?
We're just never gonna.
We're never gonna find it. It's never gonna work.
I think
wouldn't-
64 is a great game, but
Yeah, I mean, okay, I wouldn't be opposed to this, but here's our final.
Okay,
so
I
we
like
just moved
this.
64 up to S. So, do we think Galaxy is better than Sunshine? We should just take a vote and move on after that.
Okay.
So what do you think,
Okay.
Mac? Is Galaxy better than Sunshine or not?
no, I think Sunshine's better.
Thomas?
You go, PJ.
You know me. You know me.
I'm trying
It's
to.
down to
well,
Thomas. It's down to Thomas. 'Cause-
No, is
Well,
it?
actually,
I
no,
think
because
PJ
both of
thinks,
us-
PJ thinks
both-
Sunshine's better. You guys
yeah,
both think
of it-
Sunshine,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I would say Galaxy, but I'm fine with that leaving as
So
is.
tough. Like,
right.
I'm not going to argue it too much. I just think you
I'm
got
just
to
thinking
remember,
objectively, yeah.
Sunshine has the most noticeable / easily fixable flaws out of all these games.
Oh,
the fact
hands
that
down. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
objectively, like post game in Sunshine unplayable. You cannot 100% that game without like a guide. It's just not good.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
But if we
'cause,
were
like,
talking about post game, we would have Odyssey lower.
Well, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole
yeah, I
new
guess.
rabbit hole that we have to
Yeah.
dive down.
Yeah.
So this is what I think. It really depends when we're talking post game because the earlier games are not going to have a post game just because like
Yeah.
it's time.
that
era.
wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm fine with this.
I think I
I'm fine
like
with this list.
you know-
We'll leave it.
this is gonna hurt, but I think I'm putting Galaxy in front of Sunshine.
You're
and I-
betraying Sunshine. Holy crap.
So let me explain because
Oh my
Thomas
God.
is totally right in the fact that it's flawed in a way that makes it very frustrating to new players. Like I've seen like when 3D All Stars first came out and I saw the Discord, people were adding me asking questions, thinking I'm like the human like Sunshine guide or something. First of all, and it's like it's really confusing to new players in terms of like Thomas is right that you need a guide post game. Like even I need a guide for post game, and I literally like played this game when I was 4 years old. When it's like 2 years after coming out. So
All right.
like
I win again.
I just think Galaxy. I just think Galaxy is better in that aspect. Although nostalgically, I'll put Sunshine ahead of it in my own personal list. But like Galaxy, there's just so many advantages. Like Comet Observatory, the music is just like I think might be a hot take. I think Galaxy has the best Mario music of all time.
Oh, that's not
in
a hot
front
take.
of 3D
That
World.
is-
You don't
that
think
is-
so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
N-
Okay.
Galaxy definitely has the best Mario music.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
All
It's
right.
just
In
better
that case,
for new players and just.
I think we got to
it's
stop it
everywhere.
at some point, or else
yeah.
we're just going to.
No,
I'm
it's
not
done
going
now.
to ask
It's done
if everyone's okay with this.
It's done now.
I'm
It's
gonna
done now,
I'm gonna read it all out. S
ahead.
tier. Actually, I'll go from the bottom just for dramatic effect for our audio listeners. D tier. Super Mario 3D Land. Just a soulless Mario game. That sounds super harsh, but it's not as unique. Doesn't really have the charm that these other games have.
Yep.
C. Super Mario Galaxy 2, and Super Mario 64 DS. Galaxy 2, we kind of all decided took the good stuff from Galaxy 1 and either didn't improve upon it or got rid of it. So it's just more of Galaxy 1, but objectively worse. C tier. Super Mario 64 DS, even worse than Galaxy 2 because it's a 3D platformer with a D-pad. Enough said. B
So,
tier.
hold on,
Super
hold on,
Mario.
hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me
Okay,
just clarify.
I'm pausing.
When you're reading the games first, the first game that he's reading, audio listeners, is the top of the tier. So that's C
Yeah,
tier.
okay,
The top,
yeah.
top of the tier was Galaxy 2, and then the bottom of it was 64 DS. So continue.
Perfect. Okay. B tier. Only one game in here, and it's Super Mario 3D All Stars. It was an average port, so it's in the middle tier. A tier. First, we have Super Mario 3D World, then the hotly contested 2, Super Mario Galaxy, then beneath it, Super Mario Sunshine. Kind of just talked about all these, so I'm not going to recap them. S tier, we have. I'll go backwards for S tier, just so the last one I'm saying is the best game. So the lowest in S tier is Super Mario 64. Aged really well for its game, but there are just some things that time is not kind to in the title. That's why it's lowest of S, but still an S. Super Mario Odyssey, phenomenal game with some slight problems. It's a flawed masterpiece. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury as the best undisputed champion. It was actually quite disputed, but undisputed champion of the 3D Mario games. I'm fine with this list, and that's all that matters. We're gonna.
I like this list as well. I think it's
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
it's a tough one, but man, when you're ranking, like again, keep in mind,
I think this is the best though, right? Like,
yeah,
I think
all
this
these
is
games
okay.
are the 99th percentile of video
yeah.
games as a whole.
I'd say all of these games are probably in like my top 50 games of all time.
Oh yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
3D
They're
Land would be at
phenomenal.
my 50, but I hear you. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
So next up, guys, we're going to be doing our question segment. So in Discord, in our Switch Stop Discord, we ask you guys to ask us questions for the podcast. So this is where we get them all from. So be sure to go to the Nintendo Tonight YouTube channel for audio listeners, or just the Switch Stop YouTube channel, and look for the Switch Stop Discord invite link and join that. You guys can ask us questions in the little Discord channel, NT-questions, and we will go through them before we record each episode, and we will pick a few and answer them. So be sure to do that. And without further ado, let's just get right into it. So first question here is from MacBoy, and he is asking, how did you feel about 2021 for Nintendo? Was it an amazing year for them or no?
Giving it kind of a review. I like this question. I honestly think it was a pretty good year for them. I've heard a lot of people say it was a slow year. It kind of just felt like that because the releases were pretty spread out. But if you think about it, we got Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. We got a new WarioWare. We got a new Metroid. Yeah, it barely even feels like this year. But like a bunch of these games did come out. We got Gen 4 remakes. I mean, regardless if you think they're good or not, we did get them. We got a brand new 2D Metroid, which seemed like a impossible task. We got a brand new Mario Party return to form. I do think this was a really good year for Nintendo. Like, objectively looking at it all back, it didn't feel too good during the year, but like there were a lot of highlights. I didn't even mention the Animal Crossing New Horizons giant update direct, Sora in Smash. Like, there's a lot of good stuff that happened this year.
I think it was an above average year. I wouldn't go ahead and say it's like great, but I thought it was like a really decent year for them. I'd say my top two games for the year would have to be Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and Mario Party Superstars. Played a bunch of those games. Metroid Dread, we totally forgot to bring that up. Metroid Dread.
God.
Yeah, also fantastic game, bringing Metroid back. Love to see it. I think 2021 better than 2020, better than 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree.
Well, Thomas, how about, since Mac did it, how about you say your two favorite kind of announcements from the year, and then or two favorite games, like he said, and then I'll go ahead and say mine as well.
I'll also have to piggyback and say 3D World. But I'm going to give a shout out, even though I definitely played more of Mario Party. I'm going to give a shout out to WarioWare Get It Together. I love WarioWare. I think it's an underrated franchise. So, yeah, I'd say 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, specifically Bowser's Fury. I think that's so good. And WarioWare Get It Together. It's a not really talked about game, kind of because it came out right in between Mario Party, or right before Mario Party and Metroid. But I think WarioWare Get It Together was amazing. I really enjoyed it. So.
For sure. So my top two, it's gonna have to be Sora and Smash, just because like I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, kind of. So I just got to put that in there for my number one. And then number two is gonna be not 3D World, and hopefully I don't lose my job, but it's not gonna be 3D World. It's going to
You're
be
fired.
Damn, dude. It's gonna be Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Big Gen 4 guy, so regardless of the various issues or lack thereof, kind of content that still needs to be added. I really enjoyed it for what it was. So, yeah, that is my top two for sure. 2021, pretty much I'm going to agree with you guys. Like, above average year for the Switch for sure. Like, better than 2019 and 20, like, by a long shot. But, no. I also really liked Metroid Dread. That was a really good one. Played that late, though. So next question here from Leon354 asking, do you believe that the Nintendo Online expansion pack will get more consoles added in the upcoming future? If so, what consoles do you believe will be added to the service?
I do.
I made a concept trailer about this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No, yeah, I think the expansion pack needs another console added. Like, for what you would be paying, I haven't paid for it, but what people are paying, there needs to be more content added. Yeah, we've talked about this endless times, but I'd love to see Game Boy, GameCube, maybe even at some point DS. I don't know, but I would love to see new consoles added.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Mac. I think both the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and GameCube, so I guess both the consoles that start with Game, gotta come. Like,
yeah.
There's really no excuse anymore.
Especially with people the price, dude.
Exactly. I mean, people think the GameCube is not old enough to come. The GameCube is almost. It is. It's 2 decades old.
The GameCube came out before I was born, so yeah, it's pretty old.
Yeah, wild to think about, but still, like, absurd. And same with the Game Boy Advance. Like, how is Game Boy / Game Boy Advance not already on this service? Like, they got to be added. Those, I don't think GameCube will be added, because Nintendo is a bit of a prude when it comes to sharing their old titles, but I do think Game Boy will be added soon. Leon, to answer that portion of your question.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think it's going to have to be, especially with the price. I mean, come on. Like, it is just absurd. And, like, the scummy thing they did with Animal Crossing, like, totally unrelated, but the scummy thing they did with Animal Crossing, the expansion pack, it's like, seriously, come on. But, you know, I hope it does stay one expansion pack at the same price. Fingers crossed, doubt it, but, yeah, Game Boy, GameCube, for sure, definitely need that ASAP, Nintendo, so get on it. It's free money. All right, next question here from AK in Discord, asking top 3 most wanted games this year.
Are we including games we already know are coming out?
That's a good question.
I say we should, but we'll include them. Yeah. In that case, I have 2 games that I know are coming out and one that I want to. Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3, and Mario Kart 10, 9, Crossroads, whatever is end up called. Like, objectively, those are the 3 games I want the most this year. So
for me, I'd have to say Breath of the Wild 2. I'd have to say Splatoon 3 again. I hate to copy, but those 2 are probably my most. I played so much Splatoon. I played so much Breath of the Wild. I love both those games, so I'm super excited for the sequels. And then I'm hoping for a 3D Mario. That's my favorite series in general, so I would love to see a new 3D Mario come out.
Yep. I'm gonna have to go with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Like, that's just, like, interests me so much. Like, I can't wait to see more of that game. I think it's, like,
I keep
such a great
forgetting
idea.
about it. I know, they need to promote it
more. They
more.
gotta show off more.
I keep forgetting about it. But I am super excited for it.
Breath of the Wild 2, of course. Like, how could you not? And honestly, I'm going to have to go with Pokemon Legends Arceus, despite all of my questions and kind of worry for the game. It could either be really good or really bad. So I'm interested to see Game Freak kind of answer my questions here. Because obviously they did not do the Gen 4 remakes. Ilka actually made the Gen 4 remakes. So interested to see what Game Freak has been kind of working on all this time. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That will end off the fan questions, I believe. Just kidding. Next question here from Kagan asking, will we hear anything about Metroid Prime 4 in 2022? And is the game just going to come to the Switch or be held for the next console like Breath of the Wild? It's a good question.
I think it will be the latter. I think whatever the Switch Pro / Switch 2 ends up being, this will be that game that is kind of used in the marketing to show it, just like Metroid Dread was used for the OLED, just like Link's Awakening was used for the Switch Lite, and Breath of the Wild was used for the original Switch. I think Breath of the Wild or Metroid Prime 4 will be that game for the Switch 2. Yeah. Therefore, I do think we're going to hear something about it in 2022, but it will either be at E3 and then we won't hear anything else, or it'll be at the Game Awards or a September Direct. Like, it's not going to be anything huge either. It's going to be cinematic. Yeah, and we are not watching the Game Awards again, by the way.
Yeah,
I
was just gonna say, like, we could literally reuse that meme, the "Don't Give Me Hope" from Avengers Endgame.
Biggest waste of time ever.
Oh god! Like, I remember we sat in a Discord call for 4 hours and watching the Game Awards. Mac was.
I was in bed for half of it.
Yeah,
I was also playing Clash.
Clash Royale.
You were too. Royale, my fault. Yeah. I was leaned back in my chair, like, just snacking and, like, on my phone. Like, it was just an experience. And, like, Thomas was, like, on his bed. He was. I remember he was in his dorm at the time. He's just, like, hanging off the bed, just trying to see. When we would gasp, he'd, like, lean over and be like, "What happened?" And it's like, "Oh, never mind."
Well, because I would occasionally hear Among Us. I heard Among Us VR, and I was like, "Oh, wait, what? This is kind of cool." And so I tried to look over, almost fell off my bed, and every once in a while, PJ would just hear either Mac or I go into Clash Royale, and yep, there it is. He'd hear the classic, boom, 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 and it was a funny night, but not because of the Game Awards itself. And then as soon as Keanu Reeves said, "This is the last announcement," and showed off that Matrix Tech demo. Immediately Alt F4'd, our computers were off within 30 seconds.
Yep. So
not doing the Game Awards again.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so Metroid Prime 4 going back.
Yeah. For sure. I think the leak we were talking about earlier with Metroid Prime 4 that literally lined up with my prediction, kind of. of that. We're going to get the trilogy this year, probably sometime around the spring or like really early summer. And then we'll like hear about Metroid Prime 4 either at E3 or, you know, like a kind of late quarter 3, early quarter 4 direct, something like that. So I think, yeah, we will hear about Metroid Prime 4. And I think like your kind of analysis of like it being used for like the Switch 2 / 0.5 plus Pro, whatever you want to call it, nickname it. Yeah, I think that could be the game because those games could be really graphically intensive. They could be. Like, they aren't, but they could be. So, yeah.
Yeah, gonna have to agree with you guys. I think it could definitely be shown off like at E3 in like a teaser trailer.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If the next console is coming like that leak said, I think Metroid Prime 4 would probably be that game. So, yeah.
I agree. All right.
So this is actually
with
the
that
end
out
of
of
the
the way,
questions. This is
yeah,
actually
there you go.
no troll.
Actually,
this
for real this time. No troll. Just kidding. The next question is from Matt now. That is about it. We have answered all the questions, so let us know down in the comments below if you're watching this as a highlight on the Nintendo Tonight channel. Hit us with a comment. You can either join the Discord or just leave one down there. We'll check. And yeah, you could be featured in the very next episode, which is kind of cool, kind of crazy. And with that out of the way, in terms of audio listeners, now you are the only people listening, audio listeners. So we can hit you with some more trade secrets. But thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what we could do better. Definitely in the tier list, kind of forgot you guys existed for there a little bit. So some part of that might be a little bit confusing to listen to, but we'll do our best to make sure everything can flow between the video portion of the podcast and the audio portion of the podcast. And with that out of the way, what do you guys want to end off? You guys want to say anything to the lovely audio listeners?
I would just say if you guys are thinking like this whole transition to like the more segmented Nintendo Tonight is kind of not working for you, go ahead and like leave us some like suggestions or critiques or anything you feel like could make the podcast better, and go watch the segments. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Exactly. You, PJ, anything you
Nope.
want to say, or that about it?
No, I think
right.
that's about it. I'm just waiting for something weird to happen because every time we seem to end a podcast, it's like something very odd that ends up being at the ending, and we're like, how did we just get here? We were here, and now we're here. So,
All right.
no,
Well, speaking of which, if this is only audio listeners listening to this, I guess I can. PJ, what are you doing? Why are you taking off your shirt? PJ, why are you taking off your shirt on the webcam?
PJ, oh
Put
my
your shirt back
god.
on. PJ, put your pants on.
Dude.
Oh my God,
End
PJ.
the podcast. End the podcast.
End the podcast
okay,
right
dude.
now.
God, okay.